Have you ever seen two people in the same room acting perfectly fine, smiling, joking, even doing normal things like cooking, but still felt like something unspoken is hanging between them? That's exactly what fans are talking about with Bambi and Lil Scrappy. From what's circulating online, clips, reactions, and fan discussions, a simple co-parenting moment between the two didn't stay simple for long. On the surface, everything looked calm, even friendly. But people say there was a different energy underneath it all. According to viewers, emotions started to resurface. Old history didn't feel fully buried. And what was meant to be just a peaceful interaction between exes started feeling more complicated, like there were still unresolved feelings in the background. What really got people talking was Scrappy's approach. Some fans believe he didn't just drop by in a casual way. They point to the groceries he brought, his tone, and the way he carried himself, suggesting it felt more intentional, like he was trying to slowly reconnect, not just show up as a co-parent. As for Bambi, she didn't completely shut things down, but she also didn't fully open the door either. Her reactions left people guessing, adding even more fuel to the conversation. And that's why this moment has caught so much attention. It didn't just look like two exes co-parenting. It looked like something unfinished quietly resurfacing. And that's when the tone in the room started to change. What began as light, everyday conversation slowly started to shift into something more personal. Scrappy, according to clips and fan reactions, began opening up in a way that felt deeper than just co-parenting talk. He wasn't just discussing the moment anymore. He was hinting at emotions, history, and things that clearly hadn't been fully resolved. And that's the part fans say really caught attention. Because once those personal undertones entered the conversation, everything felt different. It was no longer just two people trying to keep things peaceful for the sake of the kids. It started feeling like old emotions were quietly resurfacing in real time. Then came the moment that really sparked debate online. The never say never type of energy that people are still talking about. It wasn't a direct statement, but it was enough to shift how viewers interpreted the entire interaction. Suddenly, the focus wasn't just on the past anymore. It was on what could possibly happen next. And that's where opinions split. Some fans believe this could be the beginning of a surprising reconciliation, something nobody expected after everything that happened before. Others think it's just another emotional cycle repeating itself. Moments of closeness followed by distance, just like before. But one thing people agree on is this: the connection between them didn't disappear. If anything, it still feels active, just more complicated than ever. What makes it even more intense are the behind-the-scenes claims floating around. Talk of private conversations, unresolved doubts, and even a possible third-party factor that may have influenced how things played out. Nothing is confirmed, but it's added another layer of speculation to an already emotional situation. So now the big question fans are left with is simple but messy. Was this a real moment of reconnection? Or just the start of another complicated chapter no one is fully ready for? More visible. She started showing, without saying too much, that she wasn't going to be pulled back into anything based on emotion alone. There was history, yes, but history wasn't enough on its own to rebuild trust or change where things stood now. And that's where the real difference between them became obvious. Bambi appeared to be thinking in terms of stability and clarity, not rushing, not reacting, but evaluating everything based on what is real in the present. Scrappy, on the other hand, seemed to be moving more from feeling than structure, responding to the moment, trying to reconnect through emotion rather than a clear, consistent plan. That gap in approach is what fans believe became the quiet barrier between them. Nothing fully broke down in that moment, but nothing fully healed either. Instead, something reopened, an emotional space that had clearly never been completely closed. And that's why people are still talking. Because if this had just been a routine co-parenting visit, it wouldn't have sparked this level of discussion. But the emotional shifts, the unspoken tension, and the back-and-forth energy turned it into something much bigger than expected. The change didn't happen all at once. It built slowly, small gestures, subtle reactions, and pauses that said more than words. At times, it even looked like both of them were carefully testing boundaries, trying to understand how much emotional space still existed between them without fully stepping over the line. Scrappy kept leaning into familiarity, revisiting old comfort zones, trying to keep the mood light while still circling back to deeper meaning. Bambi, meanwhile, stayed steady, not shutting things down, but not allowing herself to be swept into emotion either. That balance is what stood out most to viewers. Because in the end, nothing was fully resolved, but the dynamic clearly changed. What it changes into next is still unclear, and that uncertainty is exactly why fans are watching so closely. Present than distant. Even when the conversation drifted back to normal topics, his attention didn't really shift away from Bambi. Fans say it looked like he was trying to stay in the moment for as long as possible, almost like he didn't want the interaction to end or reset back to distance. But Bambi's approach stayed consistent. She remained calm, observant, and intentional about not getting carried away by the emotional flow of the moment. She could engage, she could talk, she could even share space comfortably, but she wasn't letting that comfort turn into assumption. That's what stood out most. Because both of them were clearly in the same environment, sharing the same energy, but not operating from the same mindset. Scrappy was still leaning toward emotion and possibility. Bambi was leaning toward structure, boundaries, and proof over promises. And that difference shaped everything. Even the lighter moments, cooking, small talk, family interactions, weren't just casual anymore. They carried context now. Fans noticed how even simple exchanges felt layered, like there was always something underneath being considered but not said. That's why the situation didn't settle. Instead of resolving into clarity, it stayed in a kind of emotional middle ground. Not conflict, not reconciliation, just tension mixed with familiarity. And that's exactly what has people still talking. Because at the end of it all, nothing was officially decided. No clear ending, no clear restart. Just a shared moment filled with history, hesitation, and possibility sitting side by side. And now the biggest question remains open. Was this the beginning of something restarting? Or just a reminder of what once was, without a future attached to it? Because it doesn't feel finished. That's the part everyone keeps coming back to. What happened between Bambi and Lil Scrappy didn't end with a clear outcome. There was no final decision, no defined direction. Just a moment that stayed open, emotionally charged, and hard to categorize. And that in-between space is exactly why it's getting so much attention. From everything being described, Scrappy seemed to operate from emotion, staying present, leaning into connection, and holding on to the possibility that things could shift if the right moment lasted long enough. His actions suggested someone not ready to step away from what still felt familiar. Bambi, on the other hand, stayed grounded in caution. She didn't fully reject the energy, but she also didn't surrender to it. Instead, she kept a controlled distance, close enough to engage, but careful enough not to get pulled into assumptions or promises. That contrast is what shaped the entire interaction. And even with everything that was said and felt, nothing was officially resolved. No reunion, no separation. Just a situation left suspended between past and present. Fans are now split right down the middle. Some see this as the beginning of a second chance, believing that time, growth, and shared history could eventually bring them back together in a healthier way. Others see it as a repeating pattern. Moments of closeness followed by uncertainty, where emotion rises but stability never fully follows. Both interpretations exist because the situation itself is unclear. And that's why it keeps spreading online. Because when something ends without an ending, people naturally start trying to write the next chapter themselves. It's not just about what already happened, it's about what it could still become. The family connection, the shared history, and the emotions between them all still seem to exist in the background, shaping every interaction. Now the real question is, if you were in this situation, would you give it another chance? Or would you leave the past exactly where it is? Do you think this is genuine growth and change? Or just the same old patterns showing up again in a different way? Everyone sees it differently, and that's exactly why this moment has people so divided. Some believe there's real potential for something healthier this time around, while others think history has a way of repeating itself when nothing is fully resolved. Either way, this story doesn't feel like it's over yet. What do you think happens next?